We've asked for a classified briefing for the entire Congress. We asked last week. They said they couldn't be ready. We thought hopefully this week, with all the urgency that they seem to be attaching to what's happening in the Middle East.
So far, a hole in the hull is the best evidence that 4 oil tankers from 3 different countries might have been attacked or sabotaged in the Strait of Hormuz. Whether Iran is responsible for that is unknown, but that's what the U.S. and its Arab partners are investigating.
Before the break, we will have a classified briefing on the Middle East, on Iran, for the full House of Representatives.
We look at what has happened in the Middle East to some Saudi Arabia tankers. We do know now the drones attacking pipelines. We do know the rhetoric of what Iran has been saying. And now we also see the administration take the forward look to remove Americans out of Iraq in harm's way. I think any action this administration takes will be thoughtful, will look through, and will be in consultation with the House and the Senate.
Let's begin here with tensions between the United States and Iran escalating dramatically overnight. It all started early Sunday when Iranian President Rouhani cautioned President Trump about pursuing hostile policies. Rouhani said, quote, "America should know that peace with Iran is the mother of all peace, and war with Iran is the mother of all wars." Last night, he got a response via tweet, of course.
President Trump warning Rouhani in all caps, never ever threaten the United States again, or you will suffer consequences the likes of which few throughout history have ever suffered before. We are no longer a country that will stand for your demented words of violence and death. Be cautious.
Boom, and we're live. Hawaii in the house.
Aloha.
Good to see you.
Nice to
Thanks
see
for
you.
doing this.
Thanks.
Well, there's way more of that today than there ever has been before.
Exactly. And that's where I see there's opportunity. And because the more people are learning, like, holy crap, this is what you're doing. This is the consequences of those decisions. Because there's a ton of votes that happen every single day in Congress that most people don't know about unless you're really following it closely yourself. Just that in itself is a job that you know, CNN, MSNBC, Fox News, they're not covering. So really a lot of kind of these alternative sites and voices are coming through that are helping to inform and educate people. Yeah,
the idea of trying to educate politicians on the consequences and what that really means, and the cavalier attitude that you were talking about, like what's a worst example of that? Like when you were talking about cavalier behavior by these people that make these decisions, like what kind of things have you seen? Well,
I'll speak to something that happened most recently. I think there are probably a number of examples, but just a couple of months ago in the big defense authorization bill that is kind of one of the only must-pass pieces of legislation in Congress every year. There was a 3-page provision that was kind of put in there without really any debate in the committee or anything like that, that would essentially authorize the United States to go to war with Iran. Now, you would think something like that with that magnitude would be kind of a big deal. You would want to have hearings. You would want to be a question on strategy, objectives, costs, like all of these different things. That didn't happen. So when this bill came to the floor of the House, where all 435 members of Congress have the ability to vote yes or no, I just put in an amendment that would have deleted those 3 pages from this big thousands-page bill. And basically those provisions said that Congress is authorizing the Secretary of State and the Secretary of Defense to create and implement a strategy to counter Iran. Not just come and, hey, bring us your strategy and let us talk about it and see whether or not we agree and approve. It was giving the power to the Secretary of State and Secretary of Defense to create and implement a strategy to counter Iran.
From May 16th of 2019, Nancy Pelosi says Trump needs Congress for any military action on Iran. You scroll down. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi warned Trump administration against taking any action in Iran without authorization of Congress. So I hope that the president recognizes that they have no authorization to go forward in any way. This directly contradicts what Tulsi Gabbard feared might happen when the congressional House members and the members of the Senate approved the latest version of the military budget, which gave the Secretary of State and Secretary of Defense the power to create and implement a policy to counter Iran. Seems there's a difference of opinion here on whether or not Congress already gave Trump the authority to take action in Iran.
Extremely dangerous and a blank check to essentially start a brand new war that currently has not been declared. I introduced this amendment. I don't know if you want to take a guess on how many people voted for it.
How many?
60.